everybody. Look at that. It's 6:15, right on time. It doesn't happen every day. Ryan had some technical difficulties, but he still got his done right on time. I didn't have any today, so hopefully my internet doesn't go out in 5 minutes. Hope you guys are doing well. It's Thursday evening here, day before deer season. I know all you guys up north, that may not mean as much, but down here in God's country, tomorrow is a big day. It's first day of shotgun season down in the great state of Illinois. So if you're going deer hunting, be safe. I saw a few guys talking about Caulkins, Danny Boy's petition to the United States Supreme Court. It's not going to hurt. It doesn't have any more of an impact on our case than it already has, right? So what Dan's actions were running to the Illinois Supreme Court and how that worked out for us, his petition to the United States Supreme Court doesn't do any harm. Could it help? Yeah, potentially, but it's not going to, I read the comments and people send me messages about Dan's filing, effing people, and his filing to the U.S. Supreme Court doesn't do that, okay? It doesn't have any more of an impact worse than we've already found ourselves in. Could it help if the U.S. Supreme Court looks at it? It could. Will they? I don't know. But yeah, don't worry about it hurting us. That's not the case, okay? A couple of other things before we talk about our case. If you guys are aware, there's petition signing going on right now for people to run for office, and they have to get signatures. They need about 1,000 signatures to get on the ballot for state senate, or I think even the House of Representatives. They like to get a couple thousand signatures. So there's a few things going on I wanted to see you guys if you could help with. There's someone for the Republican Party named Crystal who's running in the Winnebago area. If you guys live anywhere in the Winnebago area, Boone area, and you have the ability to help Crystal gather signatures, send a message to us, me or Ryan, that you're willing to help Crystal get that done. She needs to get those signatures gathered, and we'll put you in contact with Crystal. But she's in the Winnebago Boone area, okay? You have Jennifer Ventura in the Grundy County area. If you're anywhere in the Grundy County area, you can help Jennifer. Let us know. Again, they need help getting signatures, and these are districts that we might actually have a chance in, okay? Lastly, as far as signatures go, Phil Nagel is having an event in Bradley at the Quality Inn in Bradley at the Bristol Room on Saturday from 1 to 5. There's going to be a signature event there for Phil Nagel and for Bob. Is it Switzer? I'm sorry. I don't know which way that goes, Bob. I know we've met, but I always got that messed up. So if you guys have a chance to stop by Phil and Bob's event on November 18th, 1 to 5, and sign their petitions, if you could do that, that would be great. And then also let us know if you can help Jennifer in the Grundy area or Crystal in the Winnebago area, okay? Yeah, Jesse Ventura's kid. That's a good one, David. We have a hearing date set for January 3rd, 2024 at 1 o'clock in Effingham County on our motion to reconsider. It's in person, so the courtroom, it will happen in the courtroom. It's not going to happen on Zoom. So any of you that want to attend that on January 3rd, 2024 at 1 o'clock, then you are free to attend. It's open to the public, okay? The cases in the state, so our state court case, that's how it is. There's federal cases going on, guys, several of them. And I know it's easy to get confused about these federal cases and how they might impact state court cases. And I know it's not easy to understand, but most of the time, what's going on in the federal cases don't have any direct impact on the state court cases, okay? They're completely separate. The one that's going on in the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals, with those cases, again, the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals issued a ruling upholding it. I don't agree with their ruling. I think the U.S. Supreme Court, when it gets there, is going to absolutely disagree with the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals, but so be it. Some of the federal issues now are back in the Southern District of Illinois. There is a request for an injunction in the Southern District of Illinois as it relates to the registry. And, whether there'll be a ruling on that registry issue in the federal court by January 1st, I don't know the answer to that question. I know that the state of Illinois asked Judge McGlynn for an extension to file a response before the end of the year, and he denied that. So he's not going to let them drag it out into January. So he will probably render an opinion on the registration issue only before the year end. But how that's going to play out, again, I just don't have the answer for that. But again, those federal cases don't have a direct impact on the state cases, even though it could affect your rights as a citizen, because those federal cases can be pretty broad sweeping when they issue rulings. When those federal cases are going to make it to the United States Supreme Court, I have no idea. It's not going to happen before January 1st. It's just not the case. So, and when I'm saying the federal cases, I'm not talking about Caulkins' request. I'm talking about the other cases that are pending in the Southern District of Illinois and the Northern District that are kind of combined together. So, keep an eye out for the registration issue that's pending in the Southern District of Illinois. There could be a ruling out of the Southern District before year end on that. So we'll see what happens. Okay. As far as the registry, I've been hearing, that the registry, there's like a small percentage. They don't know how many people in Illinois own weapons on their list. I don't even think they know what the all-inclusive list of weapons is, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of ambiguity in that regard. So, but I've heard their registry has been pretty paltry. So we'll see. Right? People ask me all the time whether they should register or not register, and I don't answer that question. There's a law that says you're supposed to register. That's what the law says. So, I can't tell you what to do or what not to do. I'm telling you there's a law. And yeah, 0.14%, Keith. I think that's pretty close. Well, that's 0.14% of FOID card holders in the state of Illinois. But how many of those FOID card holders own weapons that are on that list? I don't know the answer to that question. And I'm watching it scroll over here. People always, like to make their arguments about why the law that was passed is wrong and unconstitutional. And I respect your opinions, but, ultimately people have to decide how they're going to stand up for themselves and deal with that. So we can talk about what it says all the time, but, how are people going to respond? I mean, how many different people own those weapons in the state of Illinois, and what are they going to do? Who's going to arrest them? You think there's any sheriffs? I mean, in Illinois, especially when you get down to my part of the world, they're going to arrest somebody for having a possession of one of these weapons? I don't know. Does the attorney general think he's going to go out and start prosecuting people in the state of Illinois that make the decision not to? I don't know. I mean, that's what happens when you pass laws like Governor Pritzker's passed. It can get real complicated on how you're going to deal with people. So it's almost like his mask mandates. Eventually, when enough people told him that they weren't going to listen to his mask mandate went away, remember? So, people hold the power. How they choose to wield it, it's up to them. Let me see here. I don't have much more than that. I will talk a little bit about the affidavit that people are supposed to sign, right? That affidavit is asked people to sign and saying that I possessed these weapons prior to January 10th, 2024. If you've read the affidavit, that's what it says, right? That, so the affidavit didn't contemplate that there would be the lawful ability for people to purchase weapons after January 10th because of court orders. The law didn't take that into account, right? So the affidavit as written is asking people that purchased weapons during the period of either our temporary restraining order, which went on for months, or the federal injunction, people that lawfully bought weapons during then. The affidavit doesn't account for that. So for people, you got the Illinois State Police saying, well, that means that weapon is illegal. Hold on, my phone's beeping. That weapon's illegal. And I just laugh and I go, is it? I don't think it is. I don't think that purchase was illegal. But the affidavit issue, again, it's their affidavit's got a lot of problems. And so, for example, let me give you another example. Let's say that you have someone who's exempt under the law and they purchased a weapon because they're exempt right now today. And let's say a year from now, they're no longer exempt because they're no longer fitting the qualifications under the statute. You with me? What affidavit are they supposed to fill out? The affidavit is written, doesn't contemplate that, doesn't deal with that. They can't fill out an affidavit either because they lawfully purchased it after January 10th. Just like citizens under these temporary restraining orders lawfully purchased them. Affidavit doesn't even make any sense. And so how that's going to be dealt with, well, I have to see, okay? Let me see here. Look for a couple more. Again, I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that January 3rd, 1 o'clock, that was primary what I do. And I wanted to point out to you, you know, there is a registry case going on in the Southern District. So that's a good question, Dominic. The issue of the registry that's going on in the Southern District, that's the only one that I know of right now. That's absolutely true. John, our hearing on our case is January 3rd, 2024. Let me look, guys. I don't have much else for you. I think that's it. A couple people like, our people are on the lawsuit's going to be targeted. I don't think anybody's going to be targeted. You know, government is not near as astute as you guys might think they are. It's pretty much a cluster, you know what, for the most part, most government agencies. So the Illinois State Police couldn't even get the registry rules that they were supposed to adopt done in time. They issued an emergency rule that wasn't an emergency. That's one of the arguments that's being made in the federal court because they don't have the resources to do any of this stuff. They don't, I mean, so, you know, they're not going to target anybody. They're not nearly that sophisticated, you guys. I think that's about it, guys. And I'll say that too, is that Caulkins' case, him petitioning the U.S. Supreme Court is not going to hurt us at all. You know, if you got me saying that what Dan's doing right now is not hurting us, you probably ought to accept it, because I've been pretty hard on Dan's actions for the last 6-8 months. You know, what happened with his case at the Illinois Supreme Court, that hurt us significantly. But now that he's petitioning to the U.S. Supreme Court, it doesn't cause any more harm than we've already found ourselves in, you guys. So don't beat up on Dan for petitioning the U.S. Supreme Court. It can only help, even if it's a small chance. It can't hurt us, okay? Not answering that question, John. You know, people ask me these questions all the time. Well, do I need to register if my guns aren't in the state? Do I need to register here? Do I need to register that? No lawyer that has an IQ over 50 is going to answer those questions, because there's no answer to those questions, brother. There's no answers to them whatsoever. So, you know, typically when a lawyer gives you an answer, he's basing it on precedent. He's basing it on cases that have come before on similar issues and trying to draw conclusions from that. This issue is brand new, so there's just really no advice that anybody can give, okay? Jeff, excellent question. Do we appeal if January 3rd doesn't go our way? 100% certainty, Jeffrey. We will absolutely appeal if the January 3rd case doesn't go our way. We're going to go as far as we can go, okay? All the way, you know, whether the Illinois Supreme Court will take our case or not take our case, I don't know the answer. But if we lose on January 3rd, we absolutely are going to go to the 5th Appellate Court in Mount Vernon, Jeff, okay? No, the January 3rd hearing won't be televised. You know, at least nobody's asked. If somebody wants to televise that January 3rd hearing, the media would have to ask for permission, and the Chief Judge Jarman would have to give permission for that to be televised. As of now, I don't know that anyone's asked to televise it, but if the media asks to televise it, the judge has the discretion to say yes or no, okay? Are we still trying to get the 3 readings rule before the Supreme Court? Kevin, another excellent question. I love it. We are absolutely going to try to get them to hear the 3 readings rule issue. Now, one of the things that I was frustrated about before, Kevin, is that if we would have been allowed to continue with our case the way that we should have before Caulkins intervened, we would have absolutely had the 3 readings rule in front of the Illinois Supreme Court. And I think we had a really good chance with the 3 readings rule. But now, since Caulkins did what he did to us, we may not get the chance to have that heard in front of the Illinois Supreme Court. They may not let us in, but we're absolutely going to try. That's an excellent question. Thank you. I think that's about it, guys. So again, it was only about 15 minutes. But again, if you have any ability to help with those persons in Grundy County, Will County, and Winnebago County, Boone County, getting some signatures, you guys, any chance to help at all, let us know. And then again, if you have a chance to go there in Bradley on Saturday to Phil Nagel and Bob's event for signing their petitions, try to help with that. Will you guys? Take care. Love you. See you later.